Yo, what is going on everyone? Chris here, and on today's Blu-ray review, I got a real fun one, man. Jean-Claude Van Damme in Double Impact, released by the MVD Rewind Collection. And for a guy who grew up in the 90s, Van Damme was one of the new action stars who I appreciated most ever since I saw him in the 1988 movie Bloodsport. I was like, who is this guy? Who is this badass? Then he released other great ones such as Lionheart, To Death Warrant, and of course Double Impact. Although I did enjoy Steven Seagal's movies too back then, from Above the Law to Marked for Death and so on, but one thing I didn't like about Seagal was his personality during interviews. I remember seeing him once on Arsenio Hall, well, actually several times, back in the early 90s when he was on promoting, movies and such, and he always had that I'm better than you attitude, which I didn't care for. And, Van Damme wasn't like that. He always kept it cool and easygoing, which I appreciated most about him, and he definitely gained my respect and support for his films. So anyway, MVD has done a fantastic job with the release of Double Impact on Blu-ray with a solid looking transfer that remains very film-like. I didn't notice any DNR or edge enhancements, just a very nice clean looking release with the grain intact and it's sharp too. Although small instances of softness does occur, but honestly there's really nothing major to be concerned about. I also found the black lows to be very natural, not overly deep but very lifelike. This also features the lossless LPCM audio mix and 2.0 stereo surround, which sounded decent. Obviously, it's not as immersive as an Atmos mix or 5.1, but for a movie from the 90s, it sounded just right for it. So all things considered, I'm rating both the picture and audio quality a 4 out of a 5. But yeah, Double Impact was one of those films that I watched quite often in the 90s, and just the whole idea of Van Damme having a twin was pretty cool, and the return of Bolo as well, in which he played Van Damme's enemy in Bloodsport as well, which was great. And he's just a perfect villain, man. His demeanor, his expression on his face, just a fun flick all around. But man, this edition comes loaded with tons of features. You get the making of Double Impact Parts 1 and 2, which is roughly around 2 hours long, which features interviews with Van Damme, the supporting cast, and the filmmakers, plus deleted and extended scenes, also anatomy of a scene, B-roll selections, behind-the-scenes featurette, film clips, more cast and crew interviews. Man, it just goes on and on. Also an MVD Rewind Collection promo, which features Van Damme, and a cool mini poster as well. Heck, just the features alone are well worth the purchase price. But I tell you, the 90s were such a special time for action movies, besides of course with newcomers such as Van Damme and Seagal, and the already well-established stars made action films even more complete. From Chuck Norris and his beard, to Stallone, to Schwarzenegger, such great times, man. So anyway, hope you guys grab your copies of Double Impact, such a fun movie, and now in this special collector's edition from MVD. And as always, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.